Welcome to this peaceful journey through the natural world. As you settle in for the evening, let these gentle stories from nature ease your mind and help you drift into restful sleep. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let's explore 30 remarkable facts about the world around us. We begin beneath the forest floor, where trees communicate through an underground network scientists call the Wood Wide Web. Fungi connect tree roots in vast networks, allowing trees to share nutrients and even warning signals. A mother tree can recognize her own offspring and send them extra nutrients through these fungal highways. The forest is not a collection of individuals, but a community, caring for one another in ways we're only beginning to understand. These fungal networks can extend for miles, connecting hundreds of trees across the forest. When one tree is attacked by insects, it can send chemical warning signals through the network, allowing neighboring trees to prepare their defenses before the insects arrive. The fungi receive sugars from the trees in exchange for this service, creating a partnership that has existed for over 400 million years. Older, larger trees act as hubs in this network, supporting younger trees growing in their shade. When these elder trees are dying, they've been observed releasing their resources back into the network, a final gift to the forest community. This underground world of cooperation reminds us that even in nature's apparent competition, collaboration and mutual support are essential to survival. High in the canopy of tropical rainforests, there are entire ecosystems that never touch the ground. Some frogs spend their entire lives in the pools of water that collect in bromeliad plants, hundreds of feet above the forest floor. These tiny ponds in the sky are complete worlds unto themselves, with their own food chains, predators, and prey. Life finds a way to flourish in even the most unexpected places. The water collected in these aerial plants can support dozens of species, from mosquito larvae to tiny crustaceans, all feeding on the organic matter that falls into these miniature pools. The tadpoles that grow in these elevated nurseries are completely dependent on their mother, who returns regularly to lay unfertilized eggs for them to eat. Without her care, they would starve in their isolated water world. Scientists estimate that up to half of all rainforest species live in the canopy, in a layer of the forest that remained largely unexplored until recent decades. These treetop ecosystems are so rich and complex that a single tree can host thousands of species, creating vertical neighborhoods stacked hundreds of feet high, each layer with its own climate, its own community, its own secrets. Bamboo is one of nature's quiet miracles. Some species can grow 3 feet in a single day. You could sit and watch it grow. But bamboo takes its time in other ways. Many species flower only once every 60 to 100 years, and when they do, all the bamboo plants of that species flower simultaneously, no matter where they're in the world. After flowering, they die, having waited decades for this single moment of reproduction. The speed of bamboo growth is truly remarkable. In the right conditions, you can actually hear it growing, a gentle creaking and rustling as the shoots push upward. This rapid growth is possible because bamboo doesn't grow from the tip like most plants, but extends from nodes along the stem, allowing the entire plant to elongate at once. A bamboo forest can be fully regenerated in just 3 to 5 years. The synchronized flowering of bamboo across continents remains one of botany's great mysteries. How do plants separated by oceans know to flower in the same year? Scientists believe each plant carries an internal clock, counting the years until the appointed time. When bamboo forests flower together, they produce enormous amounts of seeds, temporarily overwhelming the animals that would eat them, ensuring enough survive to start the cycle again. There are trees alive today that were ancient when the pyramids were being built. Bristlecone pines in California's White Mountains have stood for over 5,000 years. The oldest known tree, named Methuselah, has witnessed the entire span of recorded human history from its windswept mountain home. These patient trees grow slowly, adding just an inch of girth per century, their twisted forms shaped by millennia of wind and weather. Living at high elevations where conditions are harsh and resources are scarce, these trees have developed remarkable resilience. Their wood is so dense and resinous that it resists decay even after death. Dead bristlecone pines can remain standing for thousands of years more, their bleached trunks like sculptures carved by time itself. The secret to their longevity lies partly in their slow metabolism and their isolation from disease and competition. Growing in environments too extreme for most other plants, they face little threat from insects or fungi. Each ring in their ancient wood is a year marked in the tree's memory, preserving a record of past climates that scientists read like pages in a history book written by the earth itself. Salmon remember the smell of their birth stream. After years traveling thousands of miles through the ocean, they return to the exact creek where they were born to spawn. They navigate using the Earth's magnetic field, the position of the sun, and finally, that remembered scent of home. The journey complete, they give their bodies back to the stream, enriching the water that will nourish their offspring. The salmon's journey is one of transformation and sacrifice. As they enter fresh water, they stop eating entirely, living off stored energy for the weeks or months it takes to reach their spawning grounds. Their bodies change color, their jaws reshape, and they push forward against currents, up waterfalls, past bears and eagles, driven by an instinct older than mountains. When they die, their bodies provide a surge of nutrients from the ocean to the forest. Bears drag salmon carcasses into the woods, trees grow faster near salmon streams, and the forests themselves are shaped by this annual gift from the sea. The salmon connect two worlds, ocean and stream, in a cycle of renewal that has sustained entire ecosystems for millions of years. Beneath the surface of still ponds, dragonfly nymphs spend years in slow development. These aquatic juveniles are patient hunters, living underwater for up to 5 years before their transformation. Then, one night, they crawl up a reed, split open their skin, and emerge as the aerial jewels we know. Their adult life, after such a long childhood, lasts only a few weeks or months. But in that time, they fly with a grace that seems almost magical. The underwater nymph is a formidable predator, equipped with an extendable jaw that shoots forward to catch small fish, tadpoles, and other prey. It breathes through gills in its abdomen, and can propel itself through the water by shooting jets of water from its rear. This alien-looking creature is so different from the adult form that early naturalists thought they were separate species. The moment of transformation is both vulnerable and miraculous. The nymph climbs into the air, its skin splits down the back, and slowly, the adult dragonfly pulls itself free. Its wings are crumpled and wet at first, and it must hang motionless for hours while they expand and harden. If disturbed during this time, it may never fly. But once ready, the dragonfly takes to the air with 4 independently controlled wings, capable of flying forward, backward, and hovering in place with a precision that engineers still study and admire. The northern lights sing a silent song in the night sky. These dancing curtains of green, purple, and red light are caused by particles from the sun colliding with Earth's atmosphere. Ancient peoples told stories of spirits dancing in the heavens. In truth, we're seeing the solar wind painting light across our planet's magnetic shield, a reminder that we live within a star's embrace, protected by the invisible forces that surround our world. The aurora appears in an oval around each magnetic pole, expanding and contracting with the sun's activity. During powerful solar storms, the lights can be seen as far south as the Mediterranean. The colors depend on which atmospheric gases are being excited by the solar particles. Oxygen produces green and red hues, while nitrogen glows blue and purple. Each aurora is unique, never to be repeated in exactly the same way. Indigenous peoples of the Arctic have watched these lights for thousands of years, weaving them into their understanding of the cosmos. Some believed they were the spirits of ancestors playing games in the sky. Others saw them as omens or as bridges between worlds. Modern science has revealed their physical cause, but has not diminished their wonder. They remain a visceral reminder that we live on a planet traveling through space, bathed in the constant flow of energy from our star. Hummingbirds have hearts that beat over 1,000 times per minute during flight. These tiny birds, weighing less than a penny, perform feats of aerial acrobatics that no human aircraft can match. They can fly backwards, upside down, and hover in perfect stillness. To fuel this incredible metabolism, they must eat every 10 minutes or so during the day. At night, they enter a state of torpor, a miniature hibernation, lowering their heart rate to survive until dawn. A hummingbird's wings beat up to 80 times per second, moving in a figure-8 pattern that generates lift on both forward and backward strokes. This allows them to hover at flowers while feeding, their long tongues lapping nectar at 13 licks per second. They can see colors that humans cannot, including ultraviolet light, allowing them to detect patterns on flowers invisible to our eyes. During migration, some hummingbird species fly non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico, a journey of over 500 miles that takes 18 to 20 hours. Before this flight, they nearly double their body weight, storing fat that will fuel their crossing. Their metabolism is the fastest of any vertebrate, and their ability to control their body temperature and enter torpor on cold nights is essential to their survival in the brief hours between feeding. Mushrooms are merely the fruit of vast underground organisms. The largest living thing on Earth is a honey fungus in Oregon's Blue Mountains, spreading across over 2,000 acres. This single organism has been growing for thousands of years, slowly expanding through the forest soil. What we see as individual mushrooms are just the organism reaching up to spread its spores, like apples on a tree that spans miles. The body of the fungus, called mycelium, is a network of thread-like filaments that spread through the soil and wood, breaking down organic matter and absorbing nutrients. This particular honey fungus is estimated to weigh hundreds of tons and may be several thousand years old. It both feeds on and kills trees, slowly spreading from root to root through the forest. Fungi are neither plant nor animal, but belong to their own kingdom of life. They are more closely related to animals than to plants, and like us, they breathe oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. The fungal kingdom is vast and largely hidden, with most species living in the soil, in wood, or in partnership with other organisms. Without fungi to break down dead matter and recycle nutrients, life as we know it could not exist. Sea otters hold hands while they sleep. Floating on their backs in kelp forests, they link paws with their companions to avoid drifting apart in the ocean currents. They wrap themselves in kelp like a blanket, anchoring themselves to the swaying forest beneath. These intelligent animals use rocks as tools to crack open shellfish, and each otter has a favorite rock that they keep in a pouch of loose skin, carrying the same tool throughout their life. Sea otters have the densest fur of any mammal, with up to 1 million hairs per square inch. This incredible coat traps air and provides insulation in the cold ocean waters. Without a layer of blubber like other marine mammals, they depend entirely on their fur for warmth. They spend hours each day grooming, ensuring their coat remains clean and full of air-trapping bubbles. These playful creatures are also ecosystem engineers. By eating sea urchins, they prevent the urchins from overgrazing kelp forests. Where otters thrive, kelp forests flourish, providing habitat for countless other species. When otters were hunted nearly to extinction for their fur, kelp forests collapsed. Their recovery in some areas has demonstrated how a single species can shape entire marine ecosystems, illustrating the delicate balance of nature's web. The Sahara Desert was once green. Just 6,000 years ago, the world's largest hot desert was covered in grasslands, dotted with lakes, and home to hippos and crocodiles. Ancient rock art shows people swimming and herding cattle where now only sand dunes roll. The Earth's climate dances to rhythms that span millennia. Deserts become gardens, and gardens become deserts, in the slow breath of geological time. This transformation was driven by subtle changes in Earth's orbit around the Sun. These wobbles and tilts, occurring over thousands of years, shift the pattern of solar energy received by different parts of the planet. As the African monsoon strengthened, rain returned to the Sahara, and life bloomed. When the orbital cycles shifted again, the rains withdrew, and the desert reclaimed its domain. Beneath the sand, ancient aquifers still hold water from that greener time, and occasionally, satellite images reveal the outlines of ancient rivers and lakes. Climate scientists study these past transformations to understand how quickly and dramatically our world can change. The Green Sahara reminds us that the Earth's face is not fixed, but constantly being rewritten by forces that work on time scales beyond human experience. Whales sing songs that travel across entire ocean basins. Humpback whales create complex melodies that can last for hours, and these songs change and evolve over the years. Male whales all sing the same song in their region, but gradually modify it, like a slow musical evolution. Some whale calls can travel for thousands of miles through the ocean, conversations across distances that dwarf our human comprehension. The songs of humpback whales follow patterns and structures remarkably similar to human music, with repeated themes, phrases, and rhythms. Each population has its own distinct song, which all the males learn and perform. Over a breeding season, the song gradually changes, and by the next year, it may be completely different. How and why this cultural evolution occurs remains a beautiful mystery. Other whale species communicate in different ways. Blue whales produce sounds so low and powerful that they are among the loudest noises made by any animal, capable of being heard by other blue whales hundreds or even thousands of miles away. Before the oceans were filled with the noise of ship engines, whale songs may have connected individuals across entire oceans, creating a global network of communication spanning the seas. Fireflies synchronize their flashing lights. In some species, thousands of fireflies gather in trees and begin to pulse in perfect unison, creating a living light show without any conductor or leader. Each firefly adjusts its rhythm in response to its neighbors, and gradually, a collective rhythm emerges. These bioluminescent beetles turn dark forests into galaxies of coordinated light, a natural phenomenon that still fills scientists with wonder. The synchronization happens through a process called entrainment, where each firefly slightly adjusts its flash rate to match those around it. What begins as chaotic flickering gradually coalesces into waves of coordinated light. In Southeast Asia, entire trees along riverbanks pulse with thousands of fireflies flashing in perfect time, a spectacle that has enchanted observers for centuries. The light itself is produced through a chemical reaction in the firefly's abdomen, one of the most efficient light sources in nature, producing almost no heat. Different species have different flash patterns, which help males and females of the same species find each other. But some female fireflies have learned to mimic the flash patterns of other species, luring males close before eating them. Even in this gentle glow, nature's complexity and occasional darkness reveal themselves. The Grand Canyon tells a story nearly 2 billion years long. The Colorado River has carved through layer upon layer of rock, each stripe a chapter in Earth's history. At the bottom lie rocks from when Earth had no oxygen in its atmosphere, no complex life at all. As you ascend the canyon walls, you climb through time itself, passing epochs when simple microbes gave way to primitive shells, then ferns, then dinosaurs. The top layers were deposited when mammals first walked the Earth. The canyon is relatively young, carved mostly within the last 6 million years, but the rocks it exposes are ancient beyond imagination. The bottom layers, nearly 2 billion years old, were once mountains themselves, ground down by time and pressure, transformed by heat, and finally exposed again by the patient work of flowing water. The river carries away 1 million tons of sediment each day, continuing its endless work of revelation. Standing at the canyon's rim, you can see time made visible. The layers of sandstone, limestone, and shale record ancient beaches, tropical seas, and vast deserts that once covered this land. Fossils embedded in these rocks tell of creatures long extinct, of climates vastly different from today. The Grand Canyon is not just a spectacular gorge, but a library written in stone, offering anyone who takes the time to read it a glimpse into the deep history of our planet. Wolves change rivers. When wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park after being absent for 70 years, an unexpected transformation occurred. The wolves hunted deer and elk, who stopped overgrazing riverside vegetation. Trees returned to the riverbanks, which stabilized the soil. The rivers literally changed their course, becoming narrower and creating better habitat for fish and beavers. The presence of a single predator reshaped the entire landscape. This phenomenon, called a trophic cascade, demonstrates how species at the top of the food chain can influence everything below them. Without wolves, the deer and elk had browsed freely, eating young trees and preventing forest regeneration. Their populations grew beyond what the land could sustainably support. The return of wolves introduced what ecologists call the ecology of fear, changing not just how many deer there were, but how they behaved. The effects rippled outward in unexpected ways. As trees returned, songbirds returned. Beavers built more dams, creating habitat for otters, fish, and amphibians. The increased vegetation reduced erosion, which made the water clearer. Even the behavior of bears changed as berry-producing shrubs recovered. The wolves, simply by being wolves, reminded the ecosystem of patterns it had followed for millennia, proving that nature's balance is more interconnected and intricate than we often imagine. Monarch butterflies migrate thousands of miles, but no single butterfly completes the full journey. It takes 3 to 4 generations to complete the migration cycle. Monarchs that make the long flight south to Mexico live up to 8 months, while the summer generations live only a few weeks. Somehow, butterflies that have never made the journey before find their way to the exact same trees the great-great-grandparents used, drawn by an ancient instinct written into the delicate wings. The fall generation of monarchs, called the super generation, is different from their summer siblings. They don't reproduce immediately, but instead channel all their energy into the long journey south. They navigate using the sun's position, compensating for its movement across the sky using an internal clock. They can sense Earth's magnetic field and use it as a backup compass. Mountains and coastlines serve as landmarks for these fragile navigators. In the mountains of central Mexico, millions of monarchs cluster on just a few acres of forest, covering every surface of certain fir trees. The trees bend under their weight, creating orange waterfalls of butterflies. Local communities have long considered these arrivals sacred, believing the butterflies carry the souls of the departed returning for the Day of the Dead. Whether viewed through science or spirituality, the sight of millions of butterflies arriving at an ancient destination they have never seen before remains one of nature's most profound mysteries. The deep ocean has lakes and rivers beneath its waters. These underwater bodies of water are pools of super salty brine that is denser than the surrounding seawater. They have shores and surfaces where the brine meets regular seawater. Strange creatures live around these toxic pools, and any fish that swims into them is quickly killed by the concentrated salt. These eerie formations remind us that there are still unexplored worlds right here on Earth. These brine pools form when salt deposits on the ocean floor dissolve into water that can't mix with the less dense seawater above. Some are hundreds of feet across and dozens of feet deep. The boundary between the brine and seawater is so distinct that submarines can float on the denser brine pool like boats on a lake. Waves even form on this underwater surface. Life at the edges of these brine pools is adapted to extreme conditions. Mussels and specialized bacteria thrive on the chemical energy available where brine and seawater meet. Some scientists believe these environments, with their unique chemistry and isolation, might be similar to conditions where life first evolved on Earth billions of years ago. Others speculate that if life exists in the underground oceans of moons like Europa, it might resemble these strange communities surrounding Earth's underwater lakes. A single teaspoon of healthy soil contains more living organisms than there are people on Earth. Billions of bacteria, miles of fungal threads, countless protozoa, and mites form an entire universe beneath our feet. This invisible community breaks down organic matter, cycles nutrients, and creates the foundation for all terrestrial life. Every garden, every forest, every grassland pulses with this microscopic abundance. Soil is not just ground-up rock, but a living system that has been called the most complex ecosystem on Earth. The bacteria alone represent thousands of species, many of which have never been identified or studied. They perform countless tasks, from fixing nitrogen from the air into forms plants can use, to producing antibiotics that protect plant roots from disease. The fungi form networks that connect plants and transport nutrients across the soil. This underground world is incredibly fragile. A single pass of a heavy plow can disrupt fungal networks that took years to develop. Compaction from machinery or even foot traffic can reduce the airspaces that soil organisms need to survive. Chemical fertilizers and pesticides can kill beneficial organisms along with their targets. Yet healthy soil is self-renewing and resilient, capable of supporting life for thousands of years when treated with care. Every handful of earth is a gift built by countless invisible workers over long spans of time. Elephants mourn the dead. They return to the bones of deceased family members, gently touching the skulls and tusks with their trunks. They seem to pause in reflection, spending hours with the remains. When an elephant dies, the herd may stay with the body for days, covering it with leaves and branches. Scientists have observed elephants appearing to cry and showing signs of grief that mirror our own emotional responses to loss. Elephants have remarkable memories and can recognize the bones of their relatives years after death. They've been observed carrying the bones of the dead, sometimes over considerable distances. When passing a place where a family member died, the herd may stop and become quiet, as if observing a moment of silence. These behaviors suggest a level of awareness and emotional depth that challenges our understanding of animal consciousness. The bonds between elephants run deep, forged over lifetimes that can span 70 years. Mothers and daughters remain together their entire lives, and the wisdom of the eldest matriarch guides the herd through drought, danger, and the challenges of raising young. When an elder dies, the family loses not just a member, but a repository of knowledge about water sources, migration routes, and survival strategies accumulated over decades. The grief may be not just emotional, but also an acknowledgement of practical loss. The moonbow is a rainbow that appears at night. When moonlight is bright enough, and water droplets are in the air from a waterfall or rain shower, the moon creates a pale, ghostly rainbow. Cumberland Falls in Kentucky is one of the few places in the Western Hemisphere where moonbows occur regularly. These ethereal arcs remind us that beauty in nature doesn't wait for daylight, but quietly reveals itself to those who watch in the darkness. Moonbows are much fainter than solar rainbows because moonlight is about 400,000 times dimmer than direct sunlight. The moon is simply reflecting the sun's light, and much of that light is absorbed or scattered before it reaches Earth. To human eyes, moonbows often appear colorless or white because the light is too faint to trigger our color-sensing cone cells, though cameras with long exposures can capture their colors. Seeing a moonbow requires patience and planning. The moon must be full or nearly full, less than 42 degrees above the horizon, and the sky must be dark and clear behind you while water droplets spray or fall in front of you. These conditions align rarely, making moonbows one of nature's most elusive spectacles. Ancient peoples who witnessed them often interpreted them as supernatural signs, and even today, standing beneath a rainbow painted by moonlight feels like stepping into a world where the ordinary rules are gently suspended. Redwood trees can live for over 2,000 years, and they grow in groves rather than alone. The tallest trees on Earth, redwoods, can reach heights of over 350 feet. But their roots are surprisingly shallow, spreading wide instead of deep. The trees survive storms by intertwining their roots with their neighbors, creating a shared foundation. The giants of the forest stand together, supporting one another through centuries. The coast redwood grows only in a narrow strip along the California coast where fog provides the moisture these massive trees need. They can absorb water directly through their leaves from the fog, reducing their dependence on soil moisture during dry summers. High in their crowns, entire ecosystems develop in pockets of soil that accumulate on massive branches. Ferns, mosses, and even other trees grow hundreds of feet above the ground in these aerial gardens. Old-growth redwood forests are among the most productive ecosystems on Earth, storing more carbon per acre than any other forest type. When you stand among these giants, the quality of light changes. The air feels different, cooled and softened by the tree's presence. The oldest groves have never been logged, and walking among them is like stepping back into an earlier age of Earth when such forests covered far more of the planet than they do today. Antarctica holds most of Earth's fresh water, locked in ice that can be nearly 3 miles thick. Within this ice lie air bubbles trapped hundreds of thousands of years ago, tiny time capsules of ancient atmospheres. Scientists drill into the ice and extract these bubbles, breathing air from ages when humans had not yet evolved. The ice remembers, holding the history of our planet's climate in its frozen layers. Ice cores drilled from Antarctica have provided a climate record stretching back nearly 1 million years. Each layer of ice represents a year of snowfall, and the chemistry of that ice reveals the temperature and atmospheric composition when it fell. Volcanic eruptions show up as layers of ash. Dust levels indicate whether continents were more or less arid. These cores have shown us how Earth's climate has fluctuated between ice ages and warmer periods in regular cycles. The Antarctic ice sheet is so massive that it actually depresses the bedrock beneath it, pushing the land surface below sea level in many places. If all this ice were to melt, global sea levels would rise over 200 feet, redrawing the world's coastlines completely. The ice sheet stability, or instability, is one of the critical questions facing climate science. Antarctica is not just a frozen archive of the past, but a key to understanding our planet's future. Bees dance to share information. When a forager bee finds good flowers, she returns to the hive and performs a waggle dance, a figure-8 pattern that encodes both the direction and distance to the food source. The angle of the dance relative to the sun tells her sisters which direction to fly, and the duration of the waggle tells them how far. This sophisticated language allows the hive to work as one coordinated organism. The waggle dance is performed in complete darkness on the vertical surface of the honeycomb. The other bees follow the dancer, touching her with their antennae to feel her movements and learn the information. They can even account for the sun's movement across the sky, adjusting their flight direction based on the time elapsed since the dance. This ability to communicate abstract information about distant locations was once thought unique to human language. But the bees' communication goes deeper than choreographed directions. They also perform a tremble dance to recruit more receiver bees when there's a surplus of nectar, and a stop signal to indicate when a food source is depleted. Scouts returning from potential new nest sites dance to advertise their finds, and the colony somehow reaches a collective decision about which site is best. The hive functions as a single superorganism, each individual bee a cell in a larger body guided by chemical signals and dancing conversations. The Amazon rainforest creates much of its own weather. Trees release water vapor through their leaves, and this moisture rises to form clouds that rain back down on the forest. The Amazon is so large that it pumps as much water into the atmosphere as the Amazon River carries to the ocean. In this way, the forest is not just shaped by its environment, but actively creates the conditions it needs to thrive, a living system that breathes with the rhythms of rain and sun. Scientists have discovered that the forest releases chemicals that seed cloud formation, actually manufacturing the conditions for rain. These organic particles, released by plants, give water vapor something to condense around, making clouds more likely to form above the forest than over bare land or ocean. The forest essentially calls the rain to itself, a partnership between life and weather that has developed over millions of years. This self-sustaining water cycle makes the Amazon particularly vulnerable to deforestation. Remove too much forest, and the rain patterns begin to change. Less moisture is released into the atmosphere, which means less rainfall, which means more drought stress on the remaining forest. Scientists worry about tipping points, thresholds beyond which the forest might not be able to sustain itself, potentially converting to savanna. The Amazon doesn't just exist within its climate, it creates the climate, and its fate is tied to this delicate balance. Some plants remember. The mimosa plant folds its leaves when touched, a protective response to potential threats. But if you drop water on it repeatedly, it learns that the drops are harmless and stops closing. The plant has no brain, no nervous system, yet it can learn and remember. This memory can last for weeks, challenging our understanding of what it means to learn and adapt. Plant memory takes many forms. Some plants remember cold winter temperatures and won't flower until they've experienced a certain number of cold days, ensuring they bloom at the right time of year. Others remember previous attacks by insects and mount faster, stronger defenses when attacked again. Venus flytraps count the number of times their trigger hairs are touched, waiting for a second touch within 20 seconds to confirm that they've caught actual prey before expending the energy to close. These abilities suggest that plants process information in complex ways despite lacking anything like animal brains or nervous systems. Their memory is likely chemical and electrical, stored in patterns of hormones and electrical signals transmitted through their tissues. Plants, long regarded as passive background organisms, are increasingly revealing themselves as responsive, communicative, and in their own plant way, aware of their surroundings. The midnight sun of the Arctic summer means 24 hours of daylight. In the northernmost regions, the sun circles the sky without setting for months. Life bursts into frantic activity during these endless days. Plants grow with incredible speed. Birds that have migrated thousands of miles raise their chicks under the constant light. Then, as the season turns, the sun sets and won't rise again for months, and the land enters a long, dark winter sleep. This extreme cycle creates strategies and adaptations found nowhere else. Arctic terns migrate from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back each year, experiencing 2 summers and thus living in perpetual daylight for much of their lives. Reindeer, unable to rely on the day-night cycle to regulate their internal clocks during summer, show patterns of activity and rest that don't follow any 24-hour rhythm. They simply eat and sleep in short bouts around the clock. For the indigenous peoples of the Arctic, these cycles have shaped culture, spirituality, and survival strategies for thousands of years. The return of the sun after months of darkness is celebrated as a renewal of life. Traditional knowledge passed down through generations teaches how to thrive in this extreme environment, how to read the ice, predict the weather, and find sustenance in a land that appears barren but is actually teeming with life adapted to these remarkable cycles of light and dark. Coral reefs are built by tiny animals no bigger than your fingernail. Each coral polyp secretes limestone, slowly building the structures that become reefs over thousands of years. These reefs shelter a quarter of all marine species, despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. They are underwater cities, bustling with life and color, built grain by creatures that have constructed these monuments for millions of years. Coral polyps live in partnership with microscopic algae called zooxanthellae that live in their tissues. The algae perform photosynthesis, producing sugars that feed the coral, while the coral provides the algae with a protected environment and access to sunlight. This partnership is so efficient that corals can thrive in nutrient-poor tropical waters, building massive structures from almost nothing. The Great Barrier Reef, visible from space, is actually composed of billions of these tiny polyps working over thousands of years. Each generation builds upon the limestone skeletons of previous generations, creating structures that provide homes for countless species. Reefs are among Earth's oldest living systems, with some individual coral colonies alive for centuries. They are libraries of biodiversity, pharmacies yielding compounds for medicine, and barriers that protect coastlines from storms. These delicate architects have built wonders that rival anything created by human hands. The Earth hums with a frequency too low for human ears to detect. Seismologists can measure this constant vibration, a deep note that our planet has sung for eons. It comes from ocean waves, winds, and the movement of the Earth's crust. We live on an instrument that plays a song we cannot hear, a reminder that there are dimensions of reality beyond our senses, mysteries that surround us in every moment. This hum was first detected in 1998, and scientists are still working to fully understand all its sources. The frequency is around 2 to 5 MHz, far below the range of human hearing. Ocean waves crashing against continental shelves, atmospheric pressure changes, and even the slow convection of rock in the Earth's mantle all contribute to this planetary drone. It never stops, never varies much in intensity, a constant background note to everything that happens on Earth's surface. Standing on the ground, you are always in contact with this vibration, though you cannot sense it directly. The entire planet resonates like a bell that has been ringing since its formation. This discovery reminds us how much of the universe operates beyond our direct perception. We evolved to sense what was necessary for survival, but the world contains infinite layers of reality that require instruments to detect. The Earth's hum is a gentle reminder of our limitations and an invitation to wonder what else we might be missing. Every atom in your body was forged in the heart of a star. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your cells, all were created billions of years ago in stellar furnaces. When those ancient stars died, they scattered these elements into space, where they eventually coalesced into our solar system, our planet, and ultimately, you. You are, quite literally, made of stardust, a temporary gathering of the universe into conscious form. The hydrogen in your body is the simplest atom, formed in the first minutes after the Big Bang, before there were stars at all. But everything heavier than hydrogen was created inside stars or in the violent explosions of supernovas. Every breath you take contains atoms that have cycled through countless stars, planets, and living things. You are not separate from the universe, but a part of it, as much as a wave is part of the ocean. This connection extends beyond the poetic to the profoundly practical. The same physical laws that govern the formation of stars also govern the beating of your heart. The same forces that hold atoms together in distant galaxies hold your cells together here. You are the universe experiencing itself, matter that has achieved the improbable state of consciousness, able to contemplate its own existence. In this moment, as you prepare for sleep, you are returning to rest as part of an ancient cosmic cycle, as natural as stars being born and galaxies turning in the night. And so our journey through nature's wonders comes to a close. The world is full of such marvels, waiting quietly for us to notice. The trees are communicating beneath your feet. The stars that made you still shine overhead. The earth hums its ancient song. As you drift into sleep, know that you are part of this grand tapestry, woven from stardust and sea salt, sunlight and soil. You are connected to the forests that breathe, the whales that sing across oceans, the ancient trees that remember millennia, and the tiny coral polyps building cathedrals beneath the waves. Rest well, knowing you are held by a universe that is endlessly creative, endlessly beautiful, and that you are a cherished part of its unfolding story. Tomorrow, when you wake, these wonders will still be here, continuing their patient work of being alive, waiting for you to notice them again.